Now, when I first saw this listing, it seemed to meet all my criteria. It was brick built, it was in a halfway decent neighborhood, and the price was right. But what they didn't tell me, what I didn't know until I went there with my real estate agent, was it was infested with roaches. Now, I've had broken windows before, and I've had to fix them, no big deal. So I'm looking around the apartment as I'm stepping in, and I can see that this looks like something crazy, out of a diner. I mean, is this NASCAR meets diner? What's going on here? What's with the alarm on the door, as if somebody would break in here? Turning back towards the kitchen, I could see that the cabinets were completely shot. There was nothing I was going to be able to save from this unit. Behind this kitchen sink was the bathroom, and yeah, that was just as scary. And just down the hall was the master bedroom, and I swear, this carpet, when I rolled this carpet up, it looked like it had the stain from a person who had expired. Inside this closet was where I found the laundry hookup, and yeah, that was pretty gross too. When my agent and I were standing in the kitchen, there were roaches crawling on the refrigerator, so I had her step away from it so they wouldn't jump on her. When I pulled it out, you could see how nasty it was back there, and you knew there were roaches. So I got this Advian cockroach killer, and it worked great. Everywhere I put it, it was like I rang the dinner bell. They swarmed this bait everywhere it went, so I slung it everywhere. Napkins, countertops, on the stove, and you can see they just started swarming from every little nook and cranny to get to it. Even in the cabinets. You just wouldn't imagine that so many would be coming out, but they did, from every nook and cranny. It was so bad when I first started working that I could not bring food into this unit. I could not bring water into this unit, nothing. And when I did start bringing something in, I had to hang it on my ladder to be sure roaches weren't going to be on it. And they ate all of this stuff until it was gone, so you couldn't even tell I had ever laid any down. And it took several treatments to get them all, but I did eventually get them all. Now, in all honesty, I gotta say that when you gotta demolition and clean up a unit and get all the garbage out of there, that is kind of like half the work, right? Because you're dealing with this disgusting mess, and you don't want to be there, and you certainly don't want to touch some of this stuff. But it isn't until you're actually able to get this stuff out of the way that you can actually see what you got to work with, and then start thinking about what it's going to take to rebuild it. And then you can start putting your numbers together for what it's going to cost you to figure out how you're going to lay it out. And it does give you a good chance to start thinking about the things you want to build back in. Now, one of the first things I was going to have to do if I was going to make this a decent unit was to make it from a 1-bedroom into a 2-bedroom. So these pocket doors were going to have to go, and I was going to have to close this room in. And there's an air conditioning unit in this room in the closet, and that's not going to work. And the way this was built, you can see up here in the corner, I was going to have to do some framing work. Now, it seemed like the most logical place to put that air conditioning unit was going to be in this cubby where the refrigerator had been. But that meant I had to find another place for the refrigerator. I'm standing in this pseudo dining room area, and I'm looking at the framing for where the air conditioner is going to be, and I'm thinking to myself that this room doesn't make sense. Then inspiration hit me, and I tore out the wall and decided I was going to do something radically different in this condo. I started by framing in this bedroom, because this was a wall that I needed to have. I tore out the studs that were in the way so that I could rebuild the corner, and then did just that, rebuilt the corner so that I could put in a closet door there. And then I went into the bathroom and tore out the tub, because I needed access to the drain, or rather I needed to find the drain line. And that's what I did. And then I started cutting the floor to lay out the new drain line for what was going to be the kitchen sink. Special note to self, you really shouldn't run a concrete saw that's gasoline powered inside a condo. That can make you pretty woozy fast. Ask me how I know. Anyway, I laid in the pipe and I made sure it had the proper slope for drainage, packed it with rock, and then put cement over the top of it to seal it back up. Of course, I pressure tested and labeled my pipes so that I'd know which ones were hot and cold. Since I had already run PVC out to the kitchen sink, it seemed like a good idea to do that throughout the rest of the unit. So I did that. I replaced all the copper lines with CPVC. Then I moved on to building the shower curb and laying in the initial drain and the pre-slope for the shower pan. I put in the liner, and then I started with a little bit of cement board just to hold everything in place. Now, it always struck me that people don't use their imagination when they're putting these showers together, and they don't think ahead enough to think, where are you going to put the shampoo? So I thought this would be a good place to put it, because it's handy and it's close. Of course, being right above the shower valve, that creates a little bit of an issue, but, you know, it worked out okay, and you can't tell. It maybe even has people scratching their head a little. Now, speaking of things that are hidden behind walls, one of the things you got to consider when you have a kitchen like this is if you're going to move cabinets, these locations where the sockets are got to move, and you got to create the new holes. So that's what I did here. And considering I was going to be moving all this stuff to what had been the dining room, I was going to have to move this cord that had been for the stove over to where the stove was going to be. And having a refrigerator with an ice maker meant I needed a water line for that as well. Looking back on this, I got really lucky because this just barely fit. And I test fitted some boards in there to make sure that it would fit, and I laid out the design, and I think it looks good. Once the wall was going in, I knew I was going to be in good shape, and this is how I figured out the final layout for the kitchen. Of course, I took it all out so that I could put the tile in, so everything was sitting on top of tile. And then I ordered the granite, and when the granite came in, it really popped. I was very happy with that. Back to the bathroom. Now, some people ask me, how do you start your tile in the bathroom? How do you know where to start? I like to start right here behind the toilet, and the reason I do this is because the tile at the bottom of the shower you can trim, and nobody will see it. Nobody will notice it. And as your floor may be slightly uneven in your shower pan, this is the place to make those adjustments and keep a level line started down low. You get your measurement offsets established so that you know up on top is how much you got to cut off the bottom. Make sure it's square and build from there. As you can see, I definitely used a level. I kept it going all the way around. I checked that for not only the face, but also laterally and vertically. And what you're going to see here too, I think is really cool, is I use travertine. Travertine's really soft and it's moldable. Or not moldable, but it's easy to cut and it makes great surround for tile. I was really happy with the way this shower came out. I like the doors. I got those at Costco at a discount, and I got them on sale. In fact, most of the stuff I get on sale. Now, remember the master bedroom closet that had the laundry hookup? This is what I did here. I figured that this would work nice because with the cabinets offset just down a little bit, it would make it easier to reach for things like laundry soap, and it would continue a shelf over the washer and dryer if the new owners wanted to do something like that. Some of the things I didn't show in this video was the installation of a brand new door and all of the windows that went into it and how I did the lighting for the recessed lighting. I cut squares in the ceiling and then built the cans in, framed them, and then repaired the ceiling. And I also did the landscaping on the outside, which was kind of cool because it really made it look new again. Truth is, when I asked my agent to find me something ugly that I could make money with, Tammie Pickard, she really came through for me. I'm going to leave a link in the description to her so that you can find her if you need something in the Tampa Bay area. And if you enjoyed the video and the transformation, please hit that like and subscribe button and follow along for other little projects that I've done along the way to help build that mountain dream. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.